starting in 5 seconds. Sir, the more important function that the upper house performs is that it suppresses the separatist forces and affords an opportunity to the state to have their say in national legislation and, in fact, in the debates in the Constituent Assembly. This aspect was put with great emphasis by the honorable members. The second chamber is essential in a federal structure because the House of People, being the representative of the people, obviously the people will have their say there. But the states also should have a say of their own in a democratic constitution, and the Rajya Sabha being a council of states, obviously the states will have a say, and in our constitution we have recognized the importance of the voice of the states because certain constitutional amendments cannot go through unless they are passed by the majority of the states. Therefore, in our democracy, people are the main criteria, but the opinion of the majority of the states on important issues is also an important factor. Whether this aspect will be properly fulfilled by the Rajya Sabha will be dependent to a great extent on the composition and the powers which the Rajya Sabha has in comparison with some of the other second chamber that we have in the world today. For example, the most powerful second chamber in the world today, everyone will have to agree, is the Senate of the United States. The Senate members are directly elected. Their powers are also much wider because the Senate possesses the power of even voting treaties which are agreed upon by the President. Ratification by the Senate is necessary before a treaty comes into force, and up till now, more than 60 treaties have been voted by the Senate. In the United States Senate, each state is represented by two members, irrespective of its size and population. Now, let us look to another federal. In Australia, the Senate is not as powerful as that of the USA. There are 50 senators and they are elected 10 each from the 5 states. Therefore, irrespective of the size of the population, uniformity is maintained there also of all the senates. Same in the case in Switzerland also, where each state has two members. In Russia, where in spite of the divergence and composition of the population and the area, 25 deputies are there from each republic. The only country where this principle is not followed is Canada, and we are following to a certain extent that pattern. In Canada, 120 members are nominated by the Governor General, and 4 provinces have 24 members each, and other provinces have got varying number of members with a minimum of 4. We have to a certain extent followed the pattern of Canada, and because we have accepted the principle of both nomination and indirect election, and also the principle of not having uniform representation, our principle has been to provide one representative for every additional 5 millions of the population and one for every additional 2 million or part thereof. Why I am objecting and asking for a amendment and asking this house to consider the necessity of changing the present structure, I will just now come to that. In the House of the people, obviously, the House being representatives of the people, the populous states will have more representatives. Nobody can deny it, and that should be the first and basic principle. But unless there is another chamber where the smaller states may feel that they are not overwhelmed by the populous states, I think to a certain extent a situation may arise someday when the smaller states may feel that their problems are not being discussed in the proper perspective as it should be discussed. Obviously, at this moment, I will concede that not only the quantity but quality also counts. But in a democracy, the number also counts very much. Nobody can deny, and in fact, this is one of the reasons probably which prompted all other federal domestic democratic countries like the United States, Russia, and Switzerland to have uniformity of the number representing their states. In the United States, we find that the Senate and House of Representatives try to strike a balance of conflicting interests through different compositions conflicting with one another. For example, in the United States, we find that they have got 8 farming states, and these states have 47 representatives in the House of Representatives, whereas there are industrial states, and the number of their representatives in the House of Representatives is 174. In the House of Representatives, the disparity is there. The industrial states may have a dominating voice, and much more time may be taken in discussing the industrial matters. But that has been balanced in the upper house. I feel we should have also a fresh view as to whether the composition of the Rajya Sabha should be changed because of this first principle alone. This should be considered very carefully. Stopped.